Hello brothers and welcome to Sigma Old Man channel. Trust takes years to build, seconds to break and forever to repair. Now if you're a Sigma male, you already know, why even bother with the repair part? Here's a fact. Studies show that most betrayals come from people we already trust, not strangers. And Sigma males? They learned this the hard way. That's why they'll help you, guide you, maybe even save your life. But trust you? Not a chance. Think of them like a lone wolf who drags an injured deer out of a trap, then vanishes into the forest before the deer gets any funny ideas about sticking around. It's not about being cold, it's about being smart. Because in a world where loyalty is often a mask for convenience, trusting the wrong person is the quickest way to get played. So why do Sigma males help everyone but trust no one? The truth is deeper than you think. And once you understand it, you'll never see them the same way again. Number one, they've learned that loyalty is a transaction for most people. Loyalty is one of the most overrated concepts in human interaction. People throw the word around like it's sacred, but for a Sigma male, loyalty isn't about promises, it's about proof. They've seen how easily people pledge undying support when they need something, only to disappear the moment they get what they came for. It's a transaction, not a virtue. And Sigma males, they don't buy into it. They've watched people swear loyalty to friends, family, and even lovers, only to turn their backs when it's no longer convenient. It's not always malicious. Sometimes it's just human nature. Most people are loyal to what benefits them. Sigma males don't waste time being bitter about it, but they also don't waste time trusting it. They help people because they want to, not because they expect anything in return. That's the difference. They've learned that expecting loyalty is a setup for disappointment. The moment a Sigma male hears someone say, "I'll always be there for you," their brain files it under temporary statement, subject to change. Not because they're cynical, but because they've seen how easily those words crumble under pressure. It's not about doubting people, it's about understanding reality. Some people are only loyal when the conditions are right. Some are only around when it's easy, and some only stick close when there's something in it for them. That's why Sigma males don't make loyalty their currency. They don't need it. Their strength comes from being self-sufficient, from knowing that even if the whole world walks away, they'll be just fine. This mindset gives them freedom. It lets them help others without expectations, without emotional debts, without needing a return on investment. They don't keep score. They don't do favors to secure allies. They give because it aligns with who they are, not because they expect anyone to do the same for them. And when someone asks why they don't trust easily, the answer is simple. They've seen too many people switch sides the second it benefits them. It's not about paranoia, it's about pattern recognition. They help everyone, but they trust no one, because history has taught them that most loyalty is just an agreement with an expiration date. Number two, they understand human nature too well to be naive. A Sigma male doesn't just observe people, he studies them. He has seen how quickly someone's words can contradict their actions, how easily people switch sides when it benefits them, and how even the most trustworthy faces can hide ulterior motives. It's not that he's negative or overly suspicious, he just understands human nature better than most. Trust, to him, isn't something you give away just because someone seems nice. It's something that has to be proven over time, and even then it's given in small, controlled doses. He has watched people swear loyalty with full conviction, only to change direction the moment the stakes get high. He has seen how easily people justify their betrayals, convincing themselves that their actions were necessary, that they had to choose themselves over others. It's not personal, it's just how people are wired. A Sigma male doesn't hate people for it, but he won't let himself be the fool who expects anything different. He helps others because he chooses to. But trust? That's a different game altogether. The world runs on self-interest. Even the most well-intentioned people make decisions based on what benefits them. A Sigma male knows this, and instead of pretending otherwise, he embraces it. He doesn't expect people to be saints, and that's exactly why he doesn't trust easily. Not because he assumes everyone is bad, but because he knows people are unpredictable. And unpredictability is dangerous when it comes to trust. He doesn't believe in blind faith, and he definitely doesn't fall for charm. Compliments, promises, and grand gestures mean nothing without consistency. People can say all the right things, act in all the right ways, but when pressure builds, when real challenges arise, That's when their true nature is revealed. A Sigma male doesn't trust words, he trusts patterns. And most patterns have shown him that trust is a risky bet. It's not about being cold or distant. In fact, a Sigma male can be incredibly generous, offering wisdom, support, and guidance to those who seek it. But his generosity comes with a boundary. He will never place his well-being, his secrets, or his vulnerabilities in the hands of someone whose nature he hasn't fully assessed. Trust to him isn't an open invitation, it's a fortress with guarded gates, and only a rare few ever get through. Number 3, they've been betrayed not once but repeatedly. Betrayal isn't a one-time lesson for Sigma males, it's a recurring theme. They've given people the benefit of the doubt only to watch those same people prove why they shouldn't have. And it's never the obvious enemies who do the most damage, it's the ones who smiled, the ones who swore loyalty, the ones who seemed different. Sigma males don't just learn from experience, they remember every detail, every broken promise, every subtle shift in behavior that led to disappointment. Trust, to them, is like a candle. It burns bright at first, warm and hopeful. But every betrayal is a gust of wind, weakening the flame until there's nothing left but melted wax and regret. They've relit that candle too many times for people who didn't deserve it, only to watch it get snuffed out again. And now they guard that flame like it's the last source of light they have. Because in a world where people use trust like a bargaining chip, giving it away too freely is the fastest way to get burned. This doesn't mean Sigma males are bitter or incapable of connection. They can be kind, they can be helpful, but they never let their kindness become a weakness. They don't trust words, they trust actions over time. And even then they don't assume permanence. Just because someone has been trustworthy so far doesn't mean they always will be. Circumstances change, loyalties shift, and Sigma males refuse to be caught off guard ever again. So when people wonder why Sigma males are distant, why they seem guarded, the answer is simple. They've been taught over and over again that trust is not a gift, it's a gamble, and they're done playing a losing game. They'd rather stand alone with a well-protected flame than let someone else blow it out one more time. Number 4, they prefer being the giver rather than the receiver. Sigma males don't like being in debt, not financially, not emotionally, not in any way that puts them at the mercy of someone else's goodwill. They've seen how the world works, how favors aren't always free, how generosity often comes with a silent contract waiting to be cashed in at the worst possible time. So instead of being the one who needs, they choose to be the one who gives. It's not about pride, it's about control. Being a giver means they set the terms. They decide when, how, and to whom they offer help. There's no uncertainty, no lingering doubt about what's expected in return. But the moment they're on the receiving end, the balance shifts. Now there's an unspoken obligation. Now they're in a position where they owe something, and that's a situation they refuse to put themselves in. Because needing something from the wrong person is the fastest way to become trapped. They've seen it happen, people being manipulated because they accepted too much from someone who now holds it over them. They've watched as favors turned into leverage, as no pressure transformed into guilt-laced expectations. Sigma males don't play that game. If they need something, they'd rather work twice as hard, struggle in silence, or go without before putting themselves in a position where someone else can pull the strings. It's not about being ungrateful or distrustful of kindness. It's about understanding that in a world where most people act in self-interest, true generosity is rare, and they don't have time to figure out whether someone's helping them out of goodwill or as an investment for later. It's easier, safer, and far more freeing to be the one who helps rather than the one who needs help. So when Sigma males extend a hand, they do it with no expectations, no hidden motives, no desire for anything in return. They give because it keeps them in control, because it allows them to operate on their own terms, and most importantly, because it ensures they never end up in a position where someone else gets to decide the cost of their survival. And number 5, they know people will expose themselves with time. A Sigma male understands that patience isn't just a virtue, it's a weapon. They've learned that people don't reveal who they truly are right away. First impressions, meaningless, grand promises, just words. The way someone presents themselves in the beginning is often a carefully crafted illusion designed to impress, manipulate, or gain favor. But time strips away the act. And that's exactly why a Sigma male never rushes to trust. They don't play the game of instant connections or blind faith. They observe, they listen, they let people talk, because given enough time, everyone exposes themselves. It's not paranoia, it's pattern recognition. People can only pretend for so long before their true nature slips through the cracks. A liar eventually contradicts themselves. A disloyal person eventually slips up. A manipulator eventually gets too comfortable and shows their hand. Sigma males don't need to interrogate or push for answers. They just wait. This is why they don't fall for charm, flattery, or surface-level acts of kindness. They know anyone can be nice when it benefits them. The real test is consistency, how someone acts when they have nothing to gain. Will they still be loyal when no one's watching? Will they keep their word when it's inconvenient? Will they treat people with respect when there's no reward for it? Most people fail this test, and that's exactly why Sigma males don't trust easily. They've seen too many people get burned by trusting too soon. They've seen friendships crumble, relationships turn toxic, and so-called allies flip sides the moment it served them. A Sigma male refuses to be another cautionary tale. They'd rather be patient, rather wait in the shadows, rather take the time to see people for who they really are before deciding if they're worth trusting. And when the truth does come out, as it always does, the Sigma male isn't surprised. They don't get blindsided because they never bought into the illusion in the first place. They let people expose themselves, and by the time everyone else is reeling from the shock of betrayal, the Sigma male is already 10 steps ahead, having seen it coming long before the mask slipped. Number 6, they don't want to be the fool who gets played. Sigma males have witnessed too many people fall into traps disguised as trust, and they've made a silent vow. They will never be that fool. They've seen how easily emotions can be used against someone, how a well-placed sob story, a perfectly timed apology, or a fake display of loyalty can turn even the sharpest mind into an easy target. And they refuse to be next. They understand that people manipulate in layers. Some do it with charm, making you feel special just long enough to lower your guard. Others play the victim, crafting narratives where they're always the ones suffering, always in need of saving. And then, there are the ones who pretend to care, who listen just enough to collect information they'll later use as leverage. Sigma males see through it all. They know that the second they expose their vulnerabilities, they give someone the power to use them, and they'd rather die with their secrets than hand someone that weapon. This doesn't mean they lack empathy. They can be generous. They'll offer advice, lend a hand, even go out of their way to help someone in need. But there's a fine line between giving and exposing oneself. Sigma males know exactly where that line is, and they never cross it. They'll listen to people's problems, but they won't share their own. They'll offer solutions, but they won't ask for help. It's not about pride, it's about survival. Because once someone knows your weak spots, it's only a matter of time before they press on them. They've seen it happen. The friend who shared too much, only to have their words thrown back in their face. The person who trusted the wrong one and got used like a pawn. Sigma males refuse to be part of that list, so they operate with discipline. They analyze every situation with logic, not emotions. They give without attachment, help without expecting loyalty, and move on without regret. And when people wonder why a Sigma male never seems to lose in the game of trust, the answer is simple. They never bet more than they can afford to lose. Number 7, they understand that trust is emotional currency, and they don't spend it recklessly. Sigma males treat trust the way a master chess player treats their queen, something far too valuable to give away without absolute certainty. They don't hand it out like candy, hoping it will buy them connection or loyalty. To them, trust is emotional currency, and just like real wealth, it loses value when spent carelessly. Most people throw trust around blindly, assuming that if they offer it freely, it will be returned in kind. Sigma males know better. They've watched people place faith in the wrong hands and pay the price for it. They've seen friends get betrayed, lovers get manipulated, and colleagues get stabbed in the back. And they've learned that the less you trust the wrong people, the fewer problems you have in life. For them, trust is not an emotion. It's an investment. It's something that must be earned, not given on a whim. They don't assume someone is trustworthy just because they seem nice, say the right things, or have a shared history. They look for patterns, consistency, and proof over time. If someone shows loyalty without expecting anything, keeps their word when it's inconvenient, and respects privacy without prying, only then does a Sigma male consider the possibility of trust. But even then, they tread carefully. What sets them apart is their ability to function without needing trust in the first place. They don't rely on others to do the right thing. They don't expect people to be honest, loyal, or fair. They structure their lives in a way that minimizes dependence on anyone. That's why they rarely feel the sting of betrayal, because they never let themselves be in a position where someone else holds power over them. They don't seek validation through blind trust, and they don't mistake connection for security. To a Sigma male, trust is like a locked vault, and only a select few ever get a key. The rest? They're left knocking on the door, wondering why no matter how much they try to pry, they'll never get inside. Number 8, they help because it aligns with their morals, not because they expect anything. People often mistake Sigma males for being cold or detached, but that couldn't be further from the truth. They help others not for praise, not for favors, and certainly not for some fake sense of belonging, but simply because it aligns with their moral code. They don't need an audience to do the right thing. If someone is struggling, they'll step in. If they see an injustice, they'll act. Not because they're looking for loyalty in return, but because their principles demand it. What throws people off is that despite their willingness to help, Sigma males remain emotionally guarded. Most people assume that if someone is kind and generous, they must also be trusting and open. But Sigma males separate the two. They'll lend a hand, but that doesn't mean they'll let you into their world. They'll offer guidance, but that doesn't mean they consider you a friend. They understand that good deeds should be done without expectation, because the moment you expect something in return, it stops being selfless. It becomes a transaction. And they don't do transactions when it comes to morality. That's why people often misjudge them. Some assume they're distant, that their help comes with hidden motives. Others mistake their kindness as an open invitation to get close, only to be surprised when they hit an emotional wall. But Sigma males don't operate on blind trust. They've seen too many people use emotions as manipulation tactics, playing the victim, making people feel guilty or pretending to care just to get something out of it. Sigma males refuse to fall for that. Helping is a choice, not a weakness. They will stand up for what's right, but they won't be dragged into unnecessary drama. They'll give without hesitation, but they won't let their generosity be taken for granted. And most importantly, they won't let their emotions cloud their judgment. That's what sets them apart, having the heart to help, but the discipline to never be fooled. Number 9, they know the world isn't built for trust, but for survival. Sigma males don't live in a fantasy where trust is some universal virtue that guarantees safety. They see the world for what it is, a battlefield where advantage and power dictate outcomes. History is filled with betrayals, business is a game of leverage, and relationships, more often than not, are built on convenience rather than loyalty. They don't waste time pretending otherwise. That's why they approach trust with extreme caution. They help people, but not in a way that compromises their own security. They'll offer support, give advice, or even provide resources, but they never make themselves dependent on anyone. They know that the moment they become vulnerable, they've given someone an opportunity to exploit them. And in a world where self-interest rules, they'd rather be the one holding the cards than the one hoping for fair play. This mindset isn't paranoia, it's strategy. They've observed how the world works. Businesses rise and fall based on who outmaneuvers whom. Friendships shift when power dynamics change. Even family bonds can be tested when money, status, or survival is on the line. Trust, in its purest form, is rare. Most people operate with hidden motives, whether they admit it or not. Sigma males don't judge this reality, they just refuse to be naive about it. By keeping themselves emotionally and strategically guarded, they ensure that no one has leverage over them. They operate with generosity, but not blind faith. They offer assistance, but never in a way that puts them at risk. This is why they can be both helpful and distant at the same time. It's not about being cold. It's about understanding that in a world designed for survival, trust isn't the currency that runs things, power is. and the smartest move to give without expectation, to assist without attachment, and to navigate life with both heart and a bulletproof mindset. Number 10. They don't fall for words, only actions. Sigma males have seen it too many times. People falling for empty promises, sweet-talking manipulators, and carefully crafted words that mean absolutely nothing. They've watched others get deceived simply because someone said all the right things and they refuse to be that naive. That's why they don't put stock in words. Anyone can talk a good game, but not everyone follows through. Actions are the only proof that matters. Most people are too quick to trust because they want to believe in the best version of others. They mistake charm for sincerity, politeness for integrity, and consistency in speech for consistency in character. But Sigma males, they don't get hypnotized by smooth talk. They wait, they observe, and they let time do the exposing, because sooner or later a person's actions will always reveal the truth. This is why they stay emotionally detached. They don't get swept up in words of affection, exaggerated promises, or declarations of loyalty. They've heard it all before, and they know better than to invest trust in something as fragile as speech. If someone's words and actions don't align, a Sigma male is already gone, mentally, emotionally, and sometimes even physically. They don't stick around hoping for a change because they know that true character is never hidden for long. What sets them apart is their patience. They don't rush to form opinions, but they also don't ignore the warning signs. If someone constantly says one thing and does another, they don't argue, they don't give second chances, they just stop trusting. And once a Sigma male loses trust, there's no coming back from it. It's not about holding grudges, it's about eliminating liabilities. In a world full of people who talk a big game but can't back it up, Sigma males refuse to play along. They'd rather keep their trust to themselves than waste it on someone who hasn't earned it. And that's exactly why they help many but trust almost no one. Because while words can be rehearsed, real actions never lie. Number 11. They know people admire them but don't always wish them well. Sigma males have no illusions about admiration. They know that being respected and being trusted are two entirely different things. People might be drawn to their intelligence, independence, and quiet confidence, but that doesn't mean they genuinely want the best for them. Respect often comes with a hidden edge, envy, competition, or even silent resentment. Sigma males have learned the hard way that just because someone claps for you doesn't mean they want you to succeed. This is why they keep their guard up. They've seen how quickly admiration can turn into rivalry, how compliments can disguise jealousy, and how people who once praised them can switch sides the moment they feel threatened. They recognize that not everyone is rooting for them, even if they act like they are. And in a world where success breeds both fans and enemies, they'd rather assume neutrality than blind trust. This doesn't make them paranoid, it makes them smart. They can sense when someone's admiration is genuine and when it's laced with hidden motives. They don't fall for flattery or surface-level friendships. They analyze actions, patterns, and behaviors over time. If someone admires them but starts acting differently when they excel, they take note. If a so-called friend supports them in private but downplays their achievements in public, they distance themselves. What sets them apart is their ability to navigate this without drama. They don't call people out, they don't seek confrontation, they just adjust their level of trust accordingly. They'll still be courteous, still be professional, but they won't be fooled. This is why they help many but confide in very few. They see admiration for what it really is. Sometimes genuine, sometimes strategic, and sometimes just a mask for something deeper, and they refuse to be the kind of person who mistakes respect for loyalty. Trust is a fragile thing, and Sigma males have learned that the hard way. They've seen the way people shift, how admiration can turn into envy, how words can disguise intentions, and how trust, when placed in the wrong hands, can be turned into a weapon. That's why they help many but trust almost no one. Not because they're cold, not because they're cynical, but because they refuse to be blind. They move through life with a deep understanding of human nature, one that keeps them both generous and guarded. They don't waste time on illusions. They give without expecting, observe without rushing, and navigate relationships with the precision of someone who has been burned before and refuses to let it happen again. People may wonder why they're so distant, why they seem untouchable, but the truth is simple. They'd rather stand alone in clarity than be surrounded by deception. In a world where loyalty is rare and self-interest reigns, Sigma males play the game differently. They don't chase validation, they don't beg for loyalty, and they don't hand out trust like free samples. They watch, they listen, and they wait. Because in the end, the right people prove themselves, the wrong ones expose themselves, and a Sigma male, he remains exactly what he was meant to be, unshaken, self-reliant, and always 10 steps ahead. If this hit home for you, then you already know the value of moving wisely in a world full of hidden agendas. This channel is built for those who think differently, those who see beyond the surface, and those who refuse to be fooled. If that sounds like you, don't just watch. Subscribe. Because here, we don't follow the crowd. We break it down, we keep it real, and we elevate the game. Hit that subscribe button and stay ahead where you belong.